Alright, ladies and gentlemen, this is another video of Aaron's building garage, and today we're going to learn how to do a little bit of body work. Every single body man that I know does body work differently, so this is how I do it, not necessarily how someone else out there does it. I'm going to teach you the different steps, as you can see. And the reason why I'm doing this is because when I first started, no one really had a video of like step by step how to do this. So I want to teach y'all terminology and things like that. I'm going to show y'all the different blocks, the different body fillers, everything that needs to be done to get the dents out and get it ready for paint. As you can see right here, I don't know if you can see it real good with the camera, but there's a dent right there. And on every single one of these steps, I created a dent. I did it with a hammer to be as consistent as I could with this dent. You can do this dent. This dent repair would be like hail damage, door dings, stuff like that. That's how you can use this procedure to get your car fixed. The first step is obviously recognizing the dent. The second step, as you can see right here, is actually grinding it, and you have to grind it down to the bare metal. The reason why you grind it to the bare metal is so the body filler can actually grab on to the panel. And then your third step would be to feather edge. Feather edging is actually the transition from paint to paint, the primer, the sealer, all that stuff, all the way down to bare metal. And the way you do this feather edging is actually you use the DA. The DA is a dual action sander, as you can see from there. And this dual action sander, the dual action sander sands around the part that you grinded. So make sure you sand around it. You can sand around with an 80 grit. 80 grit is about the way to go, especially when you're first starting. The fourth step right here is to actually put your body filler in. Right now on this body filler, on this specific panel, I'm using a 3M product. A lot of people like to refer to body filler as Bondo, but it's not actual Bondo. Bondo is just a brand of body filler. So I like to use that on this fourth step, which is wiping it. And then whenever you're done wiping it and it's already hard, you have to block it with 80 grit. And what blocking means, it's actually using one of these are called the blocks. And as you can see, there's different kinds. There's round, teardrop, different sizes, different shapes and all that. And you use those for different shapes of the car. The next step would be the sixth step. The sixth step is actually blocking it again, once again a little bit further, but this time with 180 grit, which is a finer grit, obviously. On the block, you're still blocking. The seventh step would be to glaze it. When you're glazing, well, what we use is this 3M product. And glaze is a lot finer than Bondo. You get actually body filler. It's better for you to use this on the final stage of your body work. It gets rid of all the pinholes and all the scratches and all that you created so far. And then here you have to block it, but this time the glaze gets blocked with 180. You don't block with 80, you don't block with anything other than 180. On this ninth step, what you do right here is you feather edge once again all the surrounding, and this time you do it 320. And the reason why you do that is because you want to get rid of all the scratches that are around. You'll still have some scratches, but they'll be very fine, that will get covered by primer once it gets painted. The final step is the 10th step, which I put as primer. The reason why I did this step is because if you're not ready to paint this vehicle right away, you're gonna need to protect it from the elements. So you can use any kind of primer, but you have to make sure, we use self-etching primer. You have to make sure that you primer it before it goes out, you know, into the elements, or you start driving or anything like that. The reason being is because if you don't primer it and it gets wet, you're most likely gonna have to start all over from the beginning into grinding. So now we're gonna go over and see the different kinds of sandpaper that we have. We have this sandpaper that actually goes on the dual action sander. The dual action sander is this. We have this kind of sandpaper that goes on the blocks. It uses a Velcro type system. We have your glaze, which is what we used on the 7th step. On this side, we have your we have this, which we use this as a guide coat to see if you've blocked the entire panel, or if you are still missing some, if there's low spots or high spots. We have a body hammer, and we have the blocks, like I said. And then right here, this is a hardener, and this is what we use in order to harden the glaze and the body filler. And you got to be really careful with that, because the more you use, the less time you have to work it. The less time you have to work the panel. So you can, if you put a lot, you know, you can really get in trouble, because you're not going to be able to have enough time to spread it on the panel. So I'd be careful with that, and that actually, it has a different effect depending on the weather. So if it's really hot, I would recommend that you use a lot less, because it's gonna dry up on you. So yeah, and once again, this is the 10-step system of how to fix a dent. That's the dent. That's how you grind it. You have to feather edge it, then you have to do your body filler, and you have to block it with 80 grit, block it with 180, glaze it, block with 180 after you glaze it, feather edge with 320. I forgot to mention that you have to feather edge the surrounding areas with 320 to make sure that you get rid of the 180 scratches. And then at the very end, you have to prime it to protect it from the elements. Well, thank you guys once again. Please like and subscribe my video. I'm gonna make a video of how to go on to the next step and actually primer this. Not necessarily this panel, but go on and prep the vehicle for paint. Thank you.